What's the difference between a man being insecure about something and a man just setting boundaries for a relationship that he wants to have? You know, going to like
sometimes they can be the worst ones, the ones who love
really?
hiking and going on walks. They can
They're
be
the worst
They
ones?
can be the worst ones.
How often did you use dating apps before meeting your boyfriend? But they're like, if they saw their partner on a dating app, they probably might not have swiped right on them. Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. You know, on this channel, we like to talk about all things dating. We like to talk about all the kind of topics to see what helps us to attract the kind of person we want, to have the kind of dating or relationship we want. So without further ado, please welcome Katerina to the show. Welcome, Katerina. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being so patient. She's been very patient with us today, you know, waiting for us to just set up and everything. But we're good. We're good.
Good to go.
How you feeling today?
Yeah, good. You know,
Yeah?
it's a Sunday, it's the weekend.
I
yeah.
know. You've graced us with your Sunday morning. You've graced us with your Sunday morning. So I always like to start with, tell us your age or age range.
Okay.
And one thing a guy should know about you if he wanted to take you on a date.
Okay, so I'm Katerina. I'm 30.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just turned 30 a few days ago.
Nice.
And something, what did you say? Something a guy would...
Yeah, what's something, if a guy wanted to ask you out on a date, what's something he should know about you?
He should know about me. Something he should know about me is that I do stand-up comedy. I feel like that can be a bit of a deal breaker sometimes. So,
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you felt being naughty? Have you felt being a comedian doing comedy has turned guys off you before?
Yeah, oh my God, 100%. I kind of thought getting into stand-up comedy would actually make me really like cool and edgy and be like super appealing to people. But I feel like it actually kind of put people off a little bit, unless you meet someone who's, you know, very kind of secure in themselves and gets it. But yeah, I feel like it definitely didn't go the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah. Why do you think, what is it about being a female comedian do you think puts some guys off?
I think because it's such like a male dominated industry, so to kind of say, oh, I'm a woman and I do comedy and I'm funny, like a lot of people have this perception of like, oh well, women can't be like attractive and funny, like you've got to be kind of one or the other. It's such a like an old backwards way of thinking, but yeah, I feel like you kind of get put in that, oh, but it's such a male dominated industry, and I don't know, I guess people sometimes get a bit intimidated by it as well, I think.
Do you think there's an element of guys see you more as, oh, she's a cool girl I can hang with as a friend, but just not in like a sexual way?
Well, no, not because I think because my comedy is so much about sex and about dating. I think sometimes I get put in that way of like, oh, she's that fun girl like who might be up for a one night stand because she talks about them all the time, but not put me in that, oh, she's wifey material kind of like, and put me more in that category, I guess.
Is that, do you think that's to do with you kind of doing comedy, or do you think it's to do with the whole thing of some guys being like, oh, she just has one night stands? Do you know what I mean?
I think from doing comedy and from talking about one night stands and just talking about, oh, I love sex, I love dating, and so I think people sometimes think, oh, well, that's how she's going to be as a person off her social media. But I think sometimes people get confused of that social media is, you know, it's a performance, it's not who I am like completely. So I think people get a bit confused of like, well, who are you then, kind of thing. So
okay. So do you think it's more that they're intimidated because you do comedy, or do you think it's more because the content of your comedy, you know, presents this persona of, you know, the girl who just kind of is looking for fun and likes to party and have you know, these flings and stuff
definitely
like that?
And also the amount of times I've been like, guys have said to me, oh, I hope you don't put me in your stand-up set. And it's like, well, you've got to actually offer something. You've got to bring something to the table for me to actually put you in my stand-up set. What do you bring
to the table for me to put you in my sketch?
Well, exactly. I'm not going to be like, oh, I went on a date with this guy and it was really great. What kind of set is that?
Yeah,
so
that funny,
you got to bring something, whether that be something bad or actually something, you know, positive and memorable, I guess. So have you found, you don't have to answer anything you don't want to, but have you found that if a guy asks you out, you know, and he sees you do comedy and he's seen your stuff, do you feel that, have they been more intimidated being like, oh, I'm not going to ask this girl out or do that, or is it being more like, oh, this is a girl who I can just party, chill and have fun with, but not really kind of, you know, have something serious with? I think they it always usually starts of like, oh wow, you're a stand-up comedian, oh my God, that's so cool, and like really love the idea of it.
Yeah.
But when it got further into like a relationship with someone and it got a bit deeper, it kind of started to show that they weren't actually very cool with it and actually found a lot of problems with it and the sort of stuff that I was speaking about. So at first they were like super up for it. I thought, oh, this is so cool and interesting. But once the reality sets in of like the late nights, the, you know, talking so explicitly, like it kind of, I guess, comes to reality a bit more.
I've had that with a female friend of mine. She's a stripper. She's had the exact same thing where like when guys meet her, they're like, oh wow, that's so cool, that's really fun.
And try and act like they're so open to it, and then actually maybe they're not.
I think what it is, I don't think it's they're acting. I think what it is when a guy meets a girl and he starts dating her, he tends to, and girls do this too, but guys tend to go, okay, this is a girl that I'm just going to have fun with and it's not going to be serious, or this is a girl that I actually going to look at long term. And I think when he first meets you, he doesn't know.
Yeah, definitely.
So then when he hears that, he may be like, oh, that is actually really cool. And then you do that and that's kind of fun, right? I think it's when he starts to see qualities he really likes and go, actually, I really want to take this girl seriously long term.
Definitely, yeah.
Those things then start to be like, oh, I don't know if that's something he wanted to contend with. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Whereas if it was just like a casual thing and it was just, oh, we're just going to chill and have fun, he probably wouldn't have any issues with it. Or at least in her case, you know, her being a stripper, I guess that's pretty evident.
100%, yeah.
What's something you'd like to bring to the conversation? Did you prepare anything that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I did actually want to talk about this whole like posting like bikini pictures and things like that on Instagram, and how you kind of get put in that category of like, oh well, because she showed her body all the time, that means she's like a slut, or she's like not someone you can take seriously. And it's like, but why can't women post what they want to post on social media, and why is that, you know, a problem?
Yeah, of course. Look, people can post whatever they want. I think what we post to the world is we are saying this is how we want the world to see us. Now it depends on what you post. Like if you're posting a bikini shot of you on holiday, that's very different than posting in your underwear when you're on all fours and the camera's like from one side and you're giving the side eye with like your tongue out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So
of course.
It depends on how sexually provocative the post is, to put it plainly.
Yeah.
But in terms of asking why do maybe guys have an issue with it, the truth is guys know we all post for validation. And if it seems that a girl posts a lot of sexually provocative stuff, it looks like she actively seeks a lot of validation and attention. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but some guys just don't like it.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially if it is quite sexually provocative, if you're an attractive girl and you don't have to have a massive following, right? You could have 1,000 followers. You're going to get guys DMing you.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
100%,
right?
yeah.
And it may not even be to do on the girl, but it could be no guy wants his girlfriend getting DM'd by guys just trying to have sex with her all the time. That's always going to happen.
Yeah.
If you're an attractive girl. But it's kind of like, if she is actively seeking that validation, because if we're being honest, some girls love the validation from guys even when they have no interest in them.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, if this is a girl who seeks a lot of validation, especially from other guys that she's not even interested in because it just feeds, you know, I understand it. We all like attention. We all like recognition. For some guys, it can be seen as a respect thing for the relationship. So it's like, okay, if you're not serious, that's fine. But if we get serious, part of respecting our relationship is kind of respecting a level of, you know, sexual privacy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
and I even think that may even tie into why maybe guys might have a slight contention with your content of your comedy, because they may think, oh, if I start dating her, is she going to expose some sexual experiences in her sketches, which the guys are like, don't bring me up in your sketches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But then it's interesting though, because like when I met my boyfriend, like he was actually totally cool with the fact that I talk about sex and stuff in my stand-up. And even like, you know, I guess maybe because like when we were on holiday together, I was posting pictures in a bikini, like, you know, thong bikinis, like showing off my body and whatever, and has never once like brought that up with me and said to me, oh, I don't feel comfortable with you doing that. And when we were even in the kind of getting to know each other stage, I was still posting, I don't know, bikini pictures, of the odd like modeling picture or things like that, and wasn't like, oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe he was thinking that internally, maybe, and didn't tell me.
Yeah.
But like never once made me feel like, oh, I need to like alter myself to kind of fit in with him. And I think I just really liked that as well. I think it just kind of showed to me, oh, you're a really secure man. Like you're really secure in yourself and don't feel like, oh, I have to kind of try and change things about her to like so she can fit in with me, if that makes sense.
I hear what you're saying. And
because I've definitely had it in the past where people have said, oh, I don't like that you post pictures of you showing off your body, and I'm kind of like, oh, but I'm not doing it for I'm just doing it because I really like the photo of myself. Like genuinely, I just really love the photo of myself and I think I look hot, and that's why I've posted it. It's not because I want loads of creepy men to DM me, even though I know that's the effect it will get sometimes.
And the likes, like, which makes you feel good.
Yeah, and I know it's not the effect, like that's the effect that will happen, that sometimes you will get the creepy DMs and everything, but I'm genuinely doing it from a place of like, oh, I just think I look really great and I like that photo of myself.
I hear that.
But yeah.
But then if it's just about you liking the photo, why would you feel the need to post it?
I guess for content, and I just really like that. Like I kind of want to, especially if I'm on holiday and I take really like, and I've taken like a really like cool picture, like even though okay I'm showing off my body, but I don't know, the beach and the colors and everything, like I want to kind of put, you know, just show it off, because also I'm 30 now and my body will change in a few years.
Sure, I understand. You know, for all of us, it slows down.
Exactly. So it's just like, well, if I'm feeling good and I'm, you know, loving my body and whatever, then fuck it, why not? Like, you know.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I don't think we should pretend that it's not for validation.
Yeah.
Like, because I understand, oh, I'm just posting it for me. If it was just for you, you just wouldn't post it. It's
partly for validation, but at the same time, I'm not gonna like cry myself to sleep if I've had like, oh, I haven't had as many likes on this post as my other posts. Like,
no, of course not.
You know what I mean?
Of course not. Yeah, but it's like, you know, if you just had a newborn baby, and you took a photo, most people don't post it online because that photo is genuinely for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I get you.
When you post it, and I say, guys in general, whatever we post online, we are looking for validation to some degree. I think, you know, I completely hear that with your boyfriend in terms of being secure in that. What's the difference between a man being insecure about something and a man just setting boundaries for the relationship that he wants to have?
I think insecurity is when it doesn't feel like a boundary. It kind of feels like you're being told to do something. It's not saying, let's chat and have an open discussion about this and actually like, you know, set a boundary together, because we're a team, we're in a relationship together. But if you're just telling me, I don't want you doing this, I don't like this about you, that's you. It's making me feel almost attacked, and I don't want to feel attacked. So like if you want to set a boundary with someone, I think it's about having an open conversation together, being like, babe, I'll be honest with you, like I'm not sure if I feel comfortable with you posting those sort of photos. Like, you know, I guess if we're on holiday, then fine, like do it and stuff, but like if it's just in England in the cold and you're like half naked or whatever, like maybe I'm not comfortable with that, can we come to some sort of compromise? Then to me that's a good way of approaching something.
So is it not necessarily the boundary of, you know, if you know, your boyfriend says to you, oh, it's not the boundary, it's how he does it. So if he said to you, babe, I don't really feel comfortable with you posting sexy photos online, would you be more open to receiving that? Yeah,
then I would, because it's, you know, you're having a chat with me and you're not coming across as like, oh, I'm really annoyed because I saw some photo and it's really pissed me off. Like, you know, it's coming across as aggressive and like you're trying to attack me, and I don't, you know, that's not a way of approaching things if you want to set a boundary with someone.
100%. I mean, I agree there's a way to do things, and I agree you shouldn't do it like that. I think I'm just going off the point, you're like, oh, well, you know, a guy would be insecure if this was a boundary that he
wanted
to have for his girlfriend, that he doesn't want to post in like sexually provocative stuff.
But I do also agree though, if if say I'm posting something, I guess like out there or whatever, but they're also liking pictures of girls doing the exact same thing as me, and then saying to me, oh, you can't do that. It's like, but babe, I'm just doing what you like. You like this, you know, you like this content, so why can't I do that? And then they'll argue it, oh, but you're my girlfriend and you're my little princess, you can't do stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but you're liking it still, so why can't
if he's liking if he's liking like those kind of photos from other women, and then he's like, I don't feel comfortable with you posting it, I understand that is a double standard.
It's a bit, it's a double standard. Exactly,
it is a double standard. But obviously the reality is the girls that he likes on there are girls that he just wouldn't take seriously, and it's because he's taking you seriously. He's like, I don't want you to be one of those girls. That's where that comes from. Because it's like saying, for example, like most guys don't want his girlfriend to be the kind of girl who would just go out and have random one night stands, though he may go out and have one night stands with a bunch of girls, right? So it's all about is this the kind of girl that I'm taking seriously, or this kind of girl I'm just having fun with? If he's just having fun, he really doesn't care.
I think that's also why like social media is just such like a judgment as well, because say girls who do post loads of revealing pictures doesn't mean they're not serious people. Like, you don't know that about them. Like, okay, they might be putting that image out there on social media, but off social media, their home life, like who they are behind that, they might actually be a really serious, like, sweet girl wanting to find a relationship. That might just be part of their, I don't know, work, whatever they do, content, I don't know. So
I mean, I get that. I get that is a fair point. But everything's about first impressions.
Yeah, of course. Like
first impressions are important.
That's why I'm so happy I met my boyfriend in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Not through social media. Because maybe if he did see my social media just first and just thought, oh, Katerina, London's Arts, Samantha Jones, sex, bikini pictures, like, you know, maybe he'd think, oh, she's really out there. Like, she's just up for a bit of fun. But because he met me, like, in person on our first impressions, maybe that's, I don't know, we didn't even have like swap social medias until like after we'd actually met in person and stuff. So I think that kind of maybe helped as well a bit.
Do you not think, you know, if a guy approached you in his DM, let's say you were single and he does, do you not think you would look at his Instagram profile and you would get an impression of the kind of man he was?
Of course you would. So like, we all do it.
So like, if he was the kind of guy where you saw his Instagram photo and it was just him, photos of next to like exotic cars, flashing off his watch, flashing off like that stuff. Behind all of that, he actually may be just a really genuine guy looking for a nice girl. But you wouldn't think that from his
and also profile. It's whether you want to take that risk, I guess. It's just like, you would look at their profile and obviously make that judgment. Of course you would. But then it's like, okay, do I want to look past that and maybe see? But again, it's...
Would you?
I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. I mean, I think
if you had 20 guys,
and
that he was one of them, and there was another guy who you liked the look of, but his profile was very different. It was showing him going on walks, him, you know, going to like
sometimes
different
they
holidays.
can be the worst ones. The ones who love hiking and going on walks. They're
the worst ones.
They can be the worst ones.
They
give off this whole, oh, I'm so sweet, I'm so wholesome, and it's like, fuck boys.
Listen, they're probably all fuck boys. But like, which one do you think you're most likely to think comes from a place of more genuinity?
Yeah, of course you would. Yeah, of course.
It's the same
100%,
thing. I don't think anyone's denying that, oh, a girl can post these kind of things and she's actually not a genuine, serious girl behind the scenes. But it's like, if guys think on a balance of probability.
Yeah.
You have that girl or the girl who just posts like her going on walks and stuff like that. And if he was going to ask one out, he might be like, okay, this one presents herself in a way that seems she's looking for something, that kind of thing, whereas this one presents in a way she's looking for more kind of just, you know, thrill and fun. And I think, to be fair, like, I've seen your Instagram profile, as far as sexual photos go, you don't really have on there.
Exactly. I don't think I'm that bad, but then like I used to get it quite a lot. Like when I was single, like I'd put up again just like a bikini photo and people are like, oh, she's really like up, and I'm like, that's just like ridiculous. I think
it depends how it's done.
It's just I just think it's just a bit ridiculous.
I think one thing for guys in relationships that kind of helps mitigate that, if you do as a woman like to post those kind of sexy kind of photos, is if you post those photos with him. I think that really mitigates for a guy when he's with you. It's like if you're in a relationship and you're posting sexually provocative photos and he's nowhere to be seen, that's when guys would be like,
When's she taking this?
Why is she doing that? Like, what is she looking for?
When did she take
like,
this?
Why is she not posting me? But I think if she, because I've seen, Instagram models and stuff, they'll post with their boyfriend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
In these sexy photos. And I think in that sense, guys.
Yeah. No, my boyfriend's behind all the sexy photos now. I get him rolling in the sand, like on holiday, like getting up. I'm like, get my booty shot.
Yes, get
so
it,
he's
man.
like involved now. He's part of the team.
That's fun. You've recruited into
I've
your
recruited
team.
him. Yeah, he's like fully into it.
He's probably like, babe, these 100 guys liked it. We need to make sure we post more like
We're
this.
just gonna keep doing it.
Keep
Gonna make
doing
some money.
Starts managing your OnlyFans.
Yeah, no, stop it.
That's so funny. So yeah, you say you're in a happy relationship now.
Yeah,
I think you were
really
telling me
nice.
before. Almost a year now.
Yeah. Coming
Almost
up
a
to
year.
a year in June.
What is one thing that you would say for women looking for a great relationship like you have with a guy who just loves and accepts you? What's one thing that you feel really helped you find that kind of guy that maybe when you were single you weren't doing? Like, was there like a mind shift? Did you start approaching it differently? Like, what was
I
it
know
for
it's
you?
a bit cliche of how like, you actually meet someone when you're not actually looking, but genuinely I wasn't looking at all. Like I just finished doing a really big like stand-up show and I was really like comedy focused. I was just so work focused that I wasn't even really thinking about meeting anyone. And then it just happened. So kind of this whole maybe not putting too much pressure on it of like, I gotta really need to meet someone. And sometimes when you are looking so much, you end up not actually finding anyone.
Yeah,
so
of
maybe
course.
just the kind of taking a bit of a step back and just thinking, okay, I'd like to meet someone, but I'm not gonna be like literally just trying to find someone on a dating app, like anyone, like, you know what I mean? Like actually just, yeah. And I think it's also come from being like really comfortable in myself as well. Like doing a bit of, I guess, finding myself and being comfortable in who I am. And I think when you're comfortable in yourself, you're going to attract the right sort of person. So
Sure.
yeah.
What were your kind of standards? Because a lot of the time we hear a lot of girls having a standard. We must be 6 foot and this money, nice smile, funny, all of this. So did you have those kind of standards for like the guy you're looking for?
I mean, definitely not height because I'm only 5 foot. So I mean, I can't really be like, 6'4", nothing else.
Hey, like, some girls short still ask for a
They
guy who's
still
crazy
want the really tall. Yeah, so
I've
I
heard
don't
tall girls get annoyed. They're like, why are these short girls taking
like
these
we're
tall
taking all the
kings?
men. Yeah. So no, I didn't really have nothing like, I guess, superficial like height or anything like that, but just like someone funny, someone who can make me laugh, someone who kind of gets my job and is like cool with it, and someone like good communication. And I guess the superficial bit was like I always liked dark-haired men with like beards and tattoos.
Okay.
But I was also like, I need to get away from that.
Right.
So I kind of was like, I'm going to put that aside and just not. But then I met my boyfriend and he's got dark hair, a beard and tattoo.
Okay.
But it worked out, so it was great. So yeah.
Okay. Do you think, because you met in real life, I've heard people say, like couples where they're so happy with their partner, but they're like, if they saw their partner on a dating app, they probably might not have swiped right on them. Do you think that was the case in your case?
I mean, I think looks wise, I would have probably like swiped right on him.
Okay.
But I don't know if he would have put a lot like on his profile and stuff.
100%.
I don't know if he would have.
So a lot of guys don't.
Yeah, because he's that like a really interesting person. Like, he loves ancient history and things that are really interesting. But I don't know if he would have actively put that on a dating profile, or if he would have kept it quite
low key,
maybe not so. And I think that's one of the reasons why you swipe right on someone, not just based on their looks, but also like, oh, what have they got going on about them? So yeah
100%. No, I get that. There's something I want to ask you. Okay, do you think someone's sexual past matters?
No, I don't, because it's in the past as well. So
Yeah.
I just think if it's something that's in the past, I see someone as, when I meet them, they're my future. We're going to be making a future together. I don't, regardless of what's happened in your past. I mean, I don't think my boyfriend now has never asked me like, oh, how many sexual partners have you had?
Of course.
It's just, it's irrelevant. Like,
If you
I don't want to know either. I wouldn't even want to know how many sexual partners he's had. I wouldn't want to know.
Would you want to know if he'd been with men before?
Yes, I would like to know that. Yeah.
Has he?
No, he hasn't. No.
If he had, would that? Why do you want to know that?
I just think it's interesting. It's interesting to know. Like,
but the past doesn't matter, no?
The past doesn't matter, and it wouldn't change the way I feel about him in any way.
Okay.
But it would just be interesting to know, what was that experience like? What attracted, would you say you're bisexual? Like, are you interested in men and women, or was it just a kind of a thing you wanted to try? Like, what? Yeah.
Well, it feels like, he's bi and he's been with like several men.
So he's okay. Sorry, repeat that. So
let's say he's bisexual.
Say my boyfriend's bisexual. Okay, yeah.
Like, let's say, obviously you've been together for a year. I guess I'm thinking like more on the first date.
Yeah. Okay.
And it comes up that that he's bi and that like he's with guys and he's with girls and stuff like that. Would that have any different shift as to whether you see him long term or anything like that, or would that not even contribute at all?
I mean, I'm quite non-judgmental anyway, so I don't think it would be like a complete deal breaker for me. But I would like to know more, like, okay, so would you say you swing more towards women, or do you swing more towards men? Would you be open to having another relationship with a man? Or
let's say yes to all of that.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be a deal breaker. I would still see them again, but I would maybe have in the back of my head that maybe he, I don't know, will want to be with a man eventually. I don't know. But I think, again, it's one of those things you have to find out for yourself. I mean, it's the same with being with a man, though. He might, I don't know, there's a chance that he might get bored of me and want to be with another woman. So,
But you don't have that in the back of your head, though, do you?
What? Not
in the same way.
Not now. Definitely not with my partner. But I mean, when you first meet and you're not like that serious with each other, yeah. I think you have that in the back of your head that this might not be a long-term thing, or this might fizzle out eventually, and you might want to go with someone else. I don't know. So, yeah.
I think that because when I asked you about does his sexual past matter if you'd been with guys, I think that does matter. To you and to most women.
If so, what, their sexual past matters if they've been with a man?
Yes.
With a man, yes, but I also don't think it's a deal breaker though. At the same time.
And maybe it's not a deal breaker for you.
Yeah.
But for some, it is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
But the point is, it still matters.
Yeah.
Just the same with some guys, like a girl's body count, right? Her sexual history. Some may be a deal breaker. Some it may not be a deal breaker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it does still matter to you, his sexual past, just the way his sexual past matters to you is different to how a man does. Because if you said to a guy like, oh yeah, I've been with girls, he's like, cool. Yeah. It's not even a thing. No, he's not going to be like, oh, I have to worry if is she going to want to be with girls in the future? Like, guys don't care.
Yeah, I think guys don't see it as that. But for women, maybe we do, yeah.
100%. Yeah. So I think when we say does sexual past matter, it does matter to men and to women. Right, varying degrees, but what women care about is just different to what men care about. Does that make sense? Yeah,
it does make sense. But also, I've never really had like a lot of those sort of conversations in the past with like no one's really asked me, oh, what's your body count?
Yeah, I don't think
I don't feel like it's a thing you really discuss. It's kind of just, I feel like you just know, like, okay, maybe they've slept with a few people. Okay, she's like, I don't know. It's just an awkward conversation to have as well. Like, I wouldn't want to know how many people my boyfriend slept with, and I don't think he would want to know how many people I've slept with. I think we just know, well, we're together now, and he's my future, I'm his future, and that's all that really matters. So
100%. Yeah, some people like to be transparent. I think you should just never ask.
I don't think you should. No,
I don't think you should ask. But I do agree that you can. I think you can get an impression of people.
I think you can. Yeah.
If they talk about dating and stuff.
You might have. Okay, you can. Maybe,
you know what I mean?
Maybe guess a figure.
Rough guess. Somewhere between
here, yeah.
Is there something you'd like to ask or bring to conversation? Something you'd like to talk about?
So, I mean, it was still around kind of, I guess, the whole. We've kind of covered the liking pictures and things.
Sure. Was there anything we didn't chat about?
No, not so much in that. That was kind of the main thing, actually. Yeah,
that was the main thing.
To cover, really.
There seems to be a very popular subject. Just liking a photo.
What about the liking women's photos and things like that? Yeah.
I mean, it's
I don't think any woman likes it. They just don't. Women just don't like.
But then I don't. If he can accept you posting sexy pics online,
yeah,
why is it such an issue for him just like another girl's
I think
photo?
because you're actively letting that person. Not that. Okay, say she's got a huge following. Okay, she's not gonna like. She's probably not even gonna see who's liked the photo or whatever.
Okay.
But it's almost like that feeling of like you're letting that girl know that you like her photo. Like, not that she's going to see it, but it's almost that feeling of like,
Does it depend on the kind of photo? So if
no,
it was like,
I think it's just any photo, like anything. Like,
so if a girl painted like a really cool painting, and it's like, oh, that's really cool.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's okay. That's not too bad. That's
so it's the type of photo.
I guess it's the type of photo, and it's also just for like, okay, you could appreciate a good looking. Like we all see people online, and we see a photo, think, oh god, they're really hot or whatever. Like we all do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not actively clicking on the photo and liking it and saying, oh, I'm letting you know that. I think I'm telling you, you know, and I think that's the thing that women have a problem with.
So when you like, if you like a photo,
yeah,
do you feel that you are actively letting that person know that you like that photo?
Yeah, because they will get a notification. Like, I mean, depending again on their following and things like that. But I mean, they know that
so you wouldn't. So you don't really like many guys' photos?
No, I don't. I mean, unless it's like a close friend or something like that. Obviously, like you see good-looking guys on Instagram and TikTok all the time, but I'm not liking it because I feel like that's me telling them like, oh, you know, I think I'm what's the word? I'm just like, yeah, actively letting them know that I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to look, but again, you don't have to go and like it or comment or whatever.
I get that.
Yeah.
I think if that's what a like means to you,
that's what I would say. Yeah.
That's even more reason that when you post something, it's for validation, because you see every like as that person saying, I actively like this about you, or I actively like you. Maybe. I
mean, even I think it sometimes when I post a picture like on holiday in a bikini and I see a guy's like my photo and I know he's got a girlfriend, I sometimes do think, oh god, I wouldn't want to be his girlfriend. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, why is he doing that? Like, I don't know.
So do you feel
I wouldn't like to be known as having the boyfriend who likes loads of girls' photos.
Sure.
Because it feels almost a bit, because girls talk and it's, you know, you feel a bit embarrassing, I guess. I don't know.
Guess. So is it like it's like a respect thing?
Yeah, definitely. I think a respect thing. But,
that's the exact same thing for a guy posting sexy photos. It's a respect thing to him.
I guess so, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
guess
so.
Because what if I said, okay, well, just because I like a girl's photo doesn't mean I'm into her. And if a girl has a problem with it, she's just massively insecure.
But yeah, it doesn't... I get it. I get that a man's not... I don't think they're doing it to be like, oh, well, if I like her photo, she's going to message me and this is going to... I don't think men think that far ahead when they're liking a photo.
We forget
I genuinely don't think they think like that. But no, exactly. But I do think just as women, we'll see pictures come up on Instagram. If we see a guy we know, or I don't know, has liked that photo, and then, you know, you put it in the WhatsApp group of the girls and it's like, your boyfriend liked this photo of this really hot girl, and like, oh my god, what the fuck?
Do girls do that?
Girls do that? Yeah. Oh my god. We find out we know everything, literally.
Wow, that's
we find out everything.
That's some interesting territory. Damn.
Yeah.
Have you ever okay, you don't have to share this.
Yes.
Have you ever like seen a photo that maybe of a girl that your boyfriend follows and checked to see if he liked it?
So a girl that my boyfriend follows, and I've gone on her profile and checked to see if he's liked any photos of hers.
Yeah, you can say either that, but let's say a girl that you know your boyfriend knows he follows, she posts like a sexy photo, and you look to see, has my boyfriend liked this?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh my god, I've done that. I've done that with every boyfriend. It's just girls do it. It's not even from a place of like insecurity. It's just like,
is it not? No,
I think it's just curiosity, and it's like, oh, is he
liking that? To start an argument with your boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you're in that mood, like, yeah, I want to start an argument today.
Because the thing is, like, I just think, and I understand everything you're saying.
Yeah,
I just think it's just if a girl posts certain photos and her man doesn't like it, the rhetoric is, oh, he's insecure. He's not secure in himself. But you've just told me that you will check a girl's photo to see if your boyfriend's liked it. And I'm like, that may start an argument later. And it's kind of like, well, that is the same kind of level of insecurity.
To be fair, usually when things like that, I'm not a very argumentative person. I'm not going to go crazy and start being, oh my God, you've liked some girls' photo. I'll just have inner anger. I'll just sit.
That's even worse.
I'll just have a bit of inner silence. I'll just be silent for a little bit.
That's even worse.
Because I'm not a very argumentative person. So and then I'll let it simmer until I'm just over it. But also,
no, it won't. It'll come out somehow.
I feel like
yeah,
I
hope
can't...
you enjoy those onions. Got nuts in them. I know you're allergic.
But also, I kind of feel like I can't, like you said, I can't be angry at that, because those sort of photos that those girls are posting, I'm also posting myself. So it's like I can't. That's why I don't get annoyed, because I'm like, well, I can't be angry because I'm sort of doing that myself, and he's not angry at me. So why I shouldn't be angry at him for liking a girl's photo? But yeah. Luckily, my boyfriend doesn't really do that anyway. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll check later.
Yeah, we'll check later. Something else I wanted to ask you. What do you think women struggle the most with in dating today?
I think the fact of, like, I guess with dating apps, there's so many options, and I think that's one of the things that people struggle with in general, is like, but there's so many options. And I think because of dating apps, there's just so much. I don't know, people have become really choosy now, like to the point where it's just ridiculous.
Like,
and
they won't date anyone below 6 foot.
Yeah, exactly, like really ridiculous. And it's just like, because there's so much, you feel like you've got so many options when really you don't actually have many options, I guess. So,
what do you mean? I don't disagree with you, but what do you mean?
Well, I think because you go on a dating app and you're like, oh wow, I've matched all these different guys. Oh my God, I've got so many options. But it doesn't mean those guys are all going to be interested in you, like, do you know what I mean? Like not all a long term. And also, you know, when you message someone on a dating app, sometimes you message them and then they disappear and ghost you and you don't speak to them again. It doesn't mean you've got this big choice of men. It's just because a lot of those could drop off anyway. So I
that's so true. Paradox of choice.
Exactly.
Paradox of choice.
It makes you feel like you've got a lot of choice when you do because you're on a dating app. But I mean, it doesn't mean you can. Okay.
I hear that.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm saying, but
I hear that. How often did you use dating apps before meeting your boyfriend?
Quite a lot, actually. I mean, I used Hinge. Well, that was the main one I used. Yeah. But also, I was a bit guilty of, like, the whole going on a dating app, kind of getting some nice compliments, feeling good about myself, and then never actually meeting up with any of these people.
Oh, savage.
Because, like, it is, like you said, it's a bit, it is validated. It makes you feel good about yourself if you're feeling a bit low, and I don't know, you're getting lots of, like, nice messages on a dating app. It gives you self-confidence, makes you feel better about yourself. But I was guilty of sometimes just not actually meeting up with any of them and just kind of using it as this is making me feel good about myself. So
what would it take for a guy to catch your eye on a dating app?
It was more the conversation and just the opening amount of times. Hey, how are you? But, like, come on, like, you've got to come up with some sort of better, like, one-liner or something. And it's like, even if they were really hot and really good looking, even that's just not enough to just say, oh, hey, how are you? Like, I'm gonna lose interest, like, already. So I think it was more like the opening line and the conversation, and, you know, actually asking me some, like, interesting questions about myself, and I find them interesting. That was Did you
ever use Bumble?
I did use Bumble as well, but mainly Hinge, to be honest with you. So,
how was Bumble? Because obviously the girl has to make the first move.
Yeah, I quite liked that. I actually thought that was, like, a good way of, like, putting yourself out there and stuff.
Did you have, like, an opener you would use with guys, or what would you say on the first line?
What was I saying on my, like, kind of opening? I don't know, because this is the thing. I have so many good opening lines for stand-up, but they're all too sexual, and it's like I couldn't use that on a date.
I mean, you could, but it could give. But
it could go really wrong. Oh, I think I said one of them was like, but it was a bit savage. But I also thought it was really funny. I had something like, "Are you a New Year's resolution? Because I plan on doing you for the first few weeks of January, and then forgetting about you for the rest of the year."
Oh my god,
is that
a bit? Hilarious.
And then I put at the end, "Is that a bit too much?"
You guys would love that.
But I thought that's quite again, it's funny. It's cheeky.
That is funny.
Yeah, and if you take that too seriously, then you're not the sort of person I'd want to date anyway. So,
do you think that line would work with girls?
No, girls would probably get super offended by that. They'd be like, wouldn't they? They'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe he said that. Whatever. But it's funny. It is funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
What do you think is a double standard that would you say, is there any double standards you'd say you would have in your relationship? You don't have to disclose if you don't want to, but something that you're like, okay, this is fine for me but not okay for you, or something that, oh, this is fine for him but not okay for me.
This is fine. Not really, if I'm honest with you. We're quite on par with things. It's like, if, again, back to sort of the pictures, if he wanted to post a photo of him topless on a beach on holiday, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, he's showing off his body. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, because I'm doing the same. So, sure. And also a lot of these photos we've taken together, and, you know, so it doesn't feel... So I don't think, we're quite on par, I would say, with things like that. We don't really have, anything like that, I'd say.
Would you say, like, in regards to, like, male and female friends for both of you, like, would you say it's pretty much the same as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually have many male friends, to be honest. I mean, I have a few, but more female friends. And then he's a bit more broad. He's got a few female friends, a few male friends, but... I think I think there's just like a level of trust there. Obviously, if it was like a female friend that you kept going on about all the time, you do get that like, Would you get that thing in the back of your head?
Would it be worse if he didn't tell you about a female friend and then you suddenly met her and you're like, oh, he's like, oh yeah, we're really close. You're like,
I think that would be person. Yeah, that would be a lot worse, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be a lot worse. But I definitely think girls do get a bit when a guy's going on about a certain girl all the time and like, oh, she's so funny, yeah, she's so cool. It does get a bit okay, this is getting annoying. I mean,
guess saying that to you, she's so funny and you're the comedian.
Yeah,
yeah,
like, who's this fucking bitch? Why is she so funny? So,
I'm the funny girl in your life. Don't you forget it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's cute. You say you don't have that many male friends. Has that always been the case? Did you have male friends before, or
not? I mean, I do have, but more ones I've met through like comedy and things like that. So not, but yeah, more just female friends really. I'd like more male friends, but I think, don't know. I just haven't really had many male friends, like kind of developing my career and like going about what I do. So yeah.
I only ask this because I know it's something that many girls experience, but they find that they'll have like male friends and then they get into a relationship and some of those male friends just drop off. Did you ever experience that?
No, because I didn't really have many male friends in the first place.
Oh, you didn't have any? Fair enough.
So it didn't really drop off, to be honest with you. I just didn't really exist before. But more female friends.
I'm kind of surprised because you know, because you do comedy and stuff, most guys will be like, oh, it should be so cool to like hang around.
Yeah, I mean, I've had, again, like some male friend, but then also like a lot of I mean, like my ex-boyfriend, he was a stand-up comedian, so I kind of like sort of stayed away from kind of comedy. I don't know.
Would you not date I mean, you're in a happy relationship, but would you, after that, were you like, I'm not dating a male comedian after
no, I didn't want to date a comedian again.
Really?
No. I think it's because you're in the same industry and it's like a lot of there was quite a lot of like competitive energy and I didn't really like that. I think it's nice sort of dating someone who's like not in different industries but can understand what you do and is interested in what you do. But I think it's a bit more interesting sometimes dating someone who's not like completely
I agree
in the same industry as you.
I think sometimes it definitely can be difficult when you date someone outside your industry for them to understand it. You know, because we talked about you know, we both trained as actors and stuff, and you know, in the theatre world it's very different to someone who doesn't know it. And you know, they can be like, you know, if you have to be intimate with someone on stage, like, oh my gosh, you're like kissing this other person 8 times a week. What's going on here? Or, you know, you have to be charming in those environments to network and build relationships and stuff like that. And they can misconstrue charm for opportunity. Yeah,
I think what I really liked about my boyfriend is because he works with comedians, because they come, you know, to his venue and stuff. So we sort of got it because he'd met a lot of other female comedians and stuff, because he's kind of worked with them, so he was almost like the behind the scenes sort of person. So he did get it because he'd met other comedians and seen, you know, stuff like that. So
that's awesome. In a relationship, sometimes we have to make compromises to make it work for the benefit of the relationship. What would you say is a compromise you had to make for yours to make it great?
I guess the traveling and the logistics of it, I think, was quite a big thing, because he's in Croydon and I'm in Hertfordshire, so it's about almost 2 hours journey back and forth and stuff. But again, like for me, travel's never really been an issue, because I travel into London all the time for jobs, acting jobs, comedy jobs, I'm just jumping around here and everywhere. So I don't really see that as like a big deal. But to some people that would be a compromise, and that would be like, oh, I'm doing the traveling, the back and forth. And some people see that, like whenever I tell people, oh yeah, he's Croydon, they're like, oh my God, that's so far. Like, how are you doing that and stuff? And I'm just like, well, if you know, you love someone and you enjoy your time together, then I don't really see travel as like a big thing, like logistics. So but that can be a compromise, I think, for some people.
100%, especially if you feel like you're the one traveling most of the time.
And it is mainly me, so
I think an ex of mine lived in Australia.
Wow.
So I'm thinking anything closer than that is going to be easy.
It's like nothing.
Like I was like, how many times I was like, I wish she just lived in France or something, like in Paris. I could go to her for like a weekend. But I was like, Australia, like you couldn't get further away from me if you tried.
That's so far.
It's so far. What's one thing you would ask men today, like the modern man today? What's one thing you would ask men today in regards to dating? Like anything you don't understand?
I guess about like
you sussed us out.
I mean, I was a little bit of sussing out, but I think I guess I'm trying to think what things that have happened to me when I was single. Like I was always quite confused about, and like why was that? I guess like ghosting is quite a thing. I'm kind of like, why do men sometimes not have the confidence to actually just tell a girl, okay, I really enjoyed our dates, but I'm just not that interested. Like why the ghosting and the disappearing act? Why can't men just actually just say, oh, actually, I wasn't feeling it, but I had a really nice time and whatever, see you, sort of thing.
Okay, I will answer that. I just want to ask you, have you ever ghosted a guy before?
I have, yeah.
Okay, why did you ghost him?
But to be fair, when I have ghosted people, it's been people I haven't been on a couple of, if I've been with someone and I've had a couple of dates with them, I have always let them know that I'm not feeling it anymore. The only time I've ghosted is when I've, started messaging someone from a dating app and having flirty banter and chatting every day. And then I've just got busy with life and I've just not replied and disappeared. So that's the only time I've actually really ghosted. But generally when I've gone on a date with someone and it's not worked, I've told them or let them know.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you ghost them because you're busy with like if you want to talk to them, you could, right?
Yeah.
So there was a reason why you didn't respond to them, or at least not get back to them.
Yeah, I get it. Might have been, I don't know. Sometimes it's just the conversation and just they're not giving me much back, and I'm just like, oh, actually, maybe I'm not feeling it, and that's true. Why do guys ghost? I think men and women ghost for the same reason. They're just no longer interested. In a perfect world, I do agree that, especially if you've already met on a few times. Yeah, I think it's like, more if it is quite bad if you've met a few times and had, because then you've actually spent a bit of time with that person, and I think it's just the decent thing to do to sort of say, oh, yeah, I'm not feeling it anymore.
Sometimes,
or even, I mean, you can lie, I guess, I mean, at least you're giving an answer, at least you're not ghosting, so I
think sometimes it can be, if you've slept together, sometimes it can be that he doesn't want to close the door completely, but he's just not looking to continue it right now. So it kind of leaves her in limbo, because it's like, oh, it's not a yes, but it's not a no. And I always say, like, ghosting is modern day rejection. So if somebody ghosts you, just take that as they're no longer interested. Do you know what I mean? Because people do it. Do you know what I mean? Guys do it. But yeah, I think if you've had sex and then you find that he's not responded, it could be he was just looking for like a one night stand if it was like on the first date. But if you've met a few times and then you've had sex, it could be he just wants her as an option. But he's not actively pursuing it, in which case you should just be like, this isn't for me. I mean, it could be because he's no longer interested. That's the main reason I think most people ghost. Why do you think women ghost? If they've met with a guy a few times, why do you think they ghost a guy?
I think from speaking with friends and things like that, I think a lot of the time women ghost because they're not interested anymore, or they've met someone else, or they're just kind of, I don't know, got busy with life and they just don't have they don't want to hurt their feelings, and I think it comes from that place.
That's the exact same reason.
It's like we don't want to hurt their feelings, so we're just gonna like not say anything and hope it just fizzles out and stuff, and hope it just. But I think women sometimes see it as a man's ghosting because he's just being rude, and it's like it's not, you know. But I don't think women sometimes see it as, oh, he just doesn't want to hurt my feelings or something. I think you assume because you're being ghosted that it's not from a place of like, oh, I feel bad 'cause she is actually quite a cool person, but I don't want to, you know, you kind of think it's coming from a place of like, oh yeah, like just being rude or whatever. Why do you think some women apply a different standard? Don't think guys think that way. Like if she goes, I know that I've ghosted guys because I don't really hurt their feelings by confronting them, I'm not interested in you. If it's done to her, why do you think she thinks it comes from a different place? Why is there a different standard to that, do you think? I think it's just the kind of the male, like, to know, just the male like norms of thinking like, oh, well, if a man ghosts me, he's just rude. Like they don't actually see it from that other perspective of like, oh, actually he might just I don't know. I think just women sometimes think like that. In general, usually
it's the case. It just doesn't want to hurt her feelings. One last, anything you'd like to ask? I want to ask one last thing. Anything you want to chat about?
Trying to think now. We've covered quite a lot actually.
You have. Well, let me ask you this, and maybe something come up. Do you have any siblings, like a younger brother?
Don't actually. I'm an only child.
Only child. Okay. All the presents for you at Christmas. Okay, if you had a younger brother, let's say he's 17 and he's kind of started dating regularly, what is one thing you would advise him about how to best navigate the dating world when it comes to women?
I think, you know, just being upfront and open about what your intentions are and good communication and just treating women with respect as well. I feel like there's so much kind of on TikTok and things these days, particularly like influencing like younger men of being like, oh, women are sluts, and like, well, you know what I mean? Just kind of Andrew Tate sort of stuff.
Let's talk about Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate, for example. Let's talk about Andrew Tate. Like that sort of, you know, like loads of young guys look up to him as like a role model now, and it's just like a lot of the things that he has said about the whole women should have their body count tattooed on their foreheads, and you know guys commenting being like, yeah, he's such a G, he's a top G and whatever, and I'm just like, it's not. No.
Why do you think he's become such a role model for young men today?
I think because he's that kind of macho, like fairly attractive, looks like he's got money, looks like he kind of can, you know, get with a lot of different women and stuff, and he kind of says quite shocking and out there things, and in general people on TikTok just love that shit. So very true. I think that's probably why he's maybe come across as like, oh, he's cool, maybe I want to be like him one day sort of thing. So I think a lot of guys may look up to, you know, they see the position he's in and think that's a powerful position, and as a man I want to be in a powerful position. So I think that's true. Is there anything you agree with him on, or do you disagree with absolutely everything he said? I think because the only things I have heard are all kind of like the bad stuff about things, like the body count, and I think, did he say something about? He said something about like when women are on a plane, like, oh, if she's young and 18 or whatever, and she's on like first class on a plane or something, you know, some sugar daddy's paid for that for her to be there or something. Like she hasn't earned that place or whatever, like, you know, and whatever. And I don't. Do you think that's not true for the majority though? No, I don't agree. Some girls who are like 18 and 19 and they're flying, I don't know, first class somewhere. I don't know, they could have like an OnlyFans account or something and have made shitloads of money and can afford that, or I don't know, invested that's in something. Like, the majority of girls flying first class to these places, it's do you not think for the majority it is maybe another guy paying for it? Yeah, majority. But I mean, if I saw an 18-year-old guy doing that, I'd be like, you're probably not paying for that. Majority. But I also think, again, that's you know, who am I to judge? You're sitting there in first class having a great time. Go you, like, enjoy yourself.
100%.
I'd love to fly first class somewhere. I've never actually been first class somewhere yet, so one day maybe. But I definitely wouldn't be one to judge. And
I don't think it's about judging. I think it's just like the likelihood is she's probably being flown out by someone, and I think because we know it does happen.
Yeah, we know, like,
do you know what I mean?
You know it happens.
It does happen. So I think it's like, the likelihood is, if you do get a young 20-year-old who's flying first class, like you said, most people never fly first class, right? Most people don't enter that income bracket, let alone someone who's under the age of 40, or even under the age of 25. Do you know what I mean? I have, but someone else was paying for me. Like, it was a business thing. Do you know what I mean? I didn't pay for it myself. I'm not paying 10 grand just to fly first class everywhere. So in that sense, do you think it's bad for him to say, okay, it's likely that she's got someone paying for that?
It's not that it's bad that he's saying that, it's just the way that he approaches it, and he approaches it with such like aggression and anger when he speaks about things. It's very like, oh, this is this and this is this and this is this, and it's like he speaks so fast and is very like, I don't know, it kind of feels a bit like a TED talk, like he's kind of trying to drill this information into you and brainwash you a little bit. And I think if he came across a bit more, you know, this is my opinion and this is what I think, sort of thing, I maybe he wouldn't be so disliked by women particularly.
I think what you've just touched on is such a big difference as to how men and women, this generalization, receive information, because it sounds like we just said is you don't necessarily disagree with what he's saying, you just don't like the packaging. Whereas for guys, we're like, we don't care about the packaging, we just care about the truth and the message. And maybe what you consider quite aggressive, we consider quite direct, because guys communicate very directly.
It's like when guys do those fitness videos where they're like, if you want to get gains, you need to do this, and they're like, are just so like
direct.
It's
very direct communication.
And it sometimes feels a bit like, oh whoa, like this is.
But I even think women are direct with men. Socially, they'll be like,
even
girls will be like, if you don't make this much, I'm not going on a date with you. Or if you're not this height, I'm not going on a date with you. If you can't buy me a Birkin bag, I mean, most girls aren't saying that, but if you can't buy me a Birkin bag, this, like, don't expect this from me. I feel that we are so socially and culturally used to men being communicated with directly from men and women. The difference is, I think what Andrew Tate is, because he's speaking on men and women, he just communicates very directly. So I think for women, that's a bit of a shock, because it's like, we're not used to being communicated to this way. We're used to it being put in a nice way that's digestible for us. Do you know what I mean? Even if the message may not be wrong. I don't agree with everything he says, but the message, if the message is true, for guys, we're like, we don't care how it's said, we just care that it's true.
That's true. Definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
I think because as well, like, obviously he does kind of speak like that because he must know that's getting him the views and that's getting him the interest as well.
There's an element of performative.
There's an element of performance, and if he was to kind of relay this information in a more calm, natural way, then maybe it wouldn't get as many views, because people wouldn't be so, because it's not as good entertainment as well. So I do think there's an
element that guys, a lot of young men resonate with him, as he really does not care what people think. And like everything he says, he believes. And he's like, I don't care if you disagree or not, this is what I think, and this is why. And I think because we live in a culture where everybody is so sensitive, or people feel that everyone's so sensitive, everyone's easily offended, etc. Guys, and this is part of the attraction for Trump. Like, I wouldn't agree with Trump, but it's kind of like, people like, we just like someone who just says it how it is, regardless of how other people feel.
But also, again, with him as well, it's entertainment as well. Like, he does put on a show, he puts on a performance, you know.
He's a show.
Part of the, you know, the appeal is that he puts on like such a show and stuff. And I think it's kind of like with what Andrew Tate does, it is a bit of a performance element to it, I think, rather than, it's like, I guess I kind of do it in some ways. Like when I talk about sex on TikTok, I know if I talked about it, I'd be like, oh yeah, have sex, and, you know, people wouldn't be as engaged. Whereas when I'm talking about it so like,
yes,
boom, 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 like it gets the views because and that's the performance element of it. So yeah.
Well, to round things off, maybe you'll indulge us. Can you give us a little sketch of one of your sets? Like, give us a little set, like a joke.
A little joke? Yeah, I can do some
from your set.
I can do some beginning stuff.
Yeah, can you give us a couple?
Okay, I'll start with my like opening joke that I've been using lately.
Go for it.
Hi, my name's Katerina. I'm 4'11".
Wow.
Yeah, I know, I'm really tiny. And I'm 30 and I still live with my mum and dad.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. It's honestly so embarrassing. It really is, because they should have moved out ages ago. I keep looking at them like, why have they not moved out yet? Literally.
I love it.
But no, I'm now in a happy relationship.
Yay,
which is amazing. I've come out of dickpression. And I've just finally met someone, and now I'm just falling into dick sand. It's amazing. I'm having the best time.
Oh my gosh, I freaking love that. Yes, round of applause for Katerina.
Thank you.
Well, you know what, while we're here, do you have a set coming up? Maybe we should give you a shout out. People can check you out. Do you have a set
I mean, not actually at the moment, no, because I just finished quite a big show, so I'm kind of just doing like lots of small little gigs at the moment. But
nice.
Yeah, TikTok though.
Yeah.
All my kind of content's on there. Instagram as well. I do quite a lot of sketches and stuff. So
cool.
Yeah.
What's your name on the social? So if people want to find you.
So my TikTok is Katerina Robinson Comedy.
Nice.
And my Instagram is Miss Katerina R.
Miss Katerina. Well, guys, show her some love from me. Look out for her comedy stuff. You just saw it right here. We got a free sample. Do you know what I mean? So definitely show her some love.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate your energy. Thank you for joining us today.
I had a great time. Thank you.
We appreciate it. We'll let you go out and enjoy the weather now. Thank you for tuning in, guys, and I will see you in the next episode.